They smiled, posed, and answered questions until someone crossed the line. These celebrities may seem cool and composed, but when disrespected, they don't hesitate to fire back. And what's wild is most of these explosive moments happened right in front of cameras. No filters, no script, just raw, unfiltered reactions from some of the biggest stars in the world. Some walked out, others clapped back, so hard they went viral. And the last one, it became a global headline that changed how we look at award shows forever. Let's start with a red carpet moment that quickly turned into a meme the internet refuses to let die. Rihanna was already running her billion-dollar empire when she hit the Savage X Fenty runway during New York Fashion Week in 2019. Dressed to kill and all smiles for the cameras, she was hit with a question that fans had been asking for years. So, when's the album coming out? The infamous "Where's Our 9" chant had become a full-on internet obsession, and this reporter thought they'd be the one to finally crack the code. But Rihanna wasn't having it. With a sharp grin, she fired back.
Girl, I still got an album to finish.
I know.
You didn't ask me about Super Bowl, really?
Put it out there, Rhea.
My friend's supposed to have my neck.
The reporter fumbled. The crowd chuckled. And just like that, the internet crowned another viral queen moment. Since then, fans have turned "Where's the album?" into a global meme, and every time she's seen in public, someone tries their luck. Even outside a courthouse in 2025, following A$AP Rocky's high-profile trial, she brushed off a paparazzo with the same question. Rihanna didn't answer. She just smiled and rolled the window up. Silence speaks volumes. Since that exchange, Rihanna has played cat and mouse with a navy on social media, dropping 30-second snippets on Instagram Live only to delete them minutes later. Each tease spikes Google searches for our 9 release date and keeps her name trending without a single billboard or press run. Industry insiders whisper that she's rewriting the album every time she experiments with a new Fenty Beauty launch, turning product testing parties into impromptu listening sessions where phones are strictly banned. In other words, she's made the wait part of the marketing, and every deflection only deepens the mystery. But not every celeb is that subtle. Robert Downey Jr. had enough of keeping it cool. It was 2015, and he was on a global promo tour for Avengers: Age of Ultron. Most interviews were light, fun, filled with Marvel trivia. Then came Channel 4's interview in the UK. Journalist Krishnan Gurumurthy started off with the usual superhero fluff, but halfway through, he shifted gears. Suddenly, our DJ was being grilled about his past addiction, jail time, and political views. The mood changed instantly. Downey looked around, visibly confused. Then, without a word, he unplugged his mic, stood up, and walked out. Later, he told Howard Stern that he knew something was off from the first few minutes. He described the host as a bottom-feeding muckraker and said he regretted even sitting down with him. The internet exploded. Some said Downey was overreacting. Others said the interviewer crossed a line. Either way, it's a masterclass in how to politely but powerfully say, "This conversation is over." And speaking of drawing lines, one actor made it crystal clear that racial disrespect isn't up for discussion, on or off camera. Live TV has its risks, and KTLA's Sam Rubin learned that the hard way in 2014. Interviewing Samuel L. Jackson, he excitedly mentioned the recent Super Bowl commercial, except Jackson wasn't in it. That was Lawrence Fishburne. Oof. Jackson's response was immediate and unforgettable.
We don't all look alike. We may be all black and famous, but we all don't look alike.
The clip went viral within minutes, and memes flooded Twitter. Rubin tried to apologize, but Jackson wasn't having it. For the next 90 seconds, he delivered a live, unscripted lesson on how to avoid racial stereotyping. Even years later, fans bring it up when discussing how common and casually black actors are confused for one another in Hollywood. It's a moment that stings, not just because of the mistake, but because Jackson turned it into a teachable, unforgettable TV moment. But the next celebrity took a different route. When a journalist tried to box her into a sexist corner, she flipped the question on its head. In 2019, Taylor Swift was sitting down with a German publication when she got asked a seemingly innocent question. "You'll be turning 30 soon. Are you going to settle down and have kids? Now, pause. Imagine asking that to a male artist in the middle of promoting a new project. Swift didn't let it slide. She smiled and replied, but saved the sting for the cameras. Fans loved it. It wasn't loud, but it was piercing. Swift has long been vocal about how female artists are constantly boxed into stereotypes. Either they're dating too much, not dating enough, too emotional, or not emotional enough. And this moment fit right into that larger conversation. Her answer was short, direct, and absolutely brutal. It reminded everyone that even subtle sexism won't go unnoticed anymore. But not every takedown is calm and calculated. They're straight up fire. Ariana Grande had just dropped hit after hit, dominating charts in 2015. But when she stopped by Power 106 for a casual interview, things went sideways fast. The hosts thought it'd be funny to play a rapid-fire question game. Would she rather give up her phone or her makeup? Ariana blinked, laughed, and then unleashed a quick reality check.
Is this men assuming that that's what girls would have to choose between?
Now, this
The energy shifted. The DJs stammered, trying to play it off as a joke, but she wasn't letting up. She went on to question why men never get asked questions like that. When one of the hosts claimed that phones were for boys, Ariana shut him down in real time. The clip went viral. Not only did fans praise her for calling out the ridiculousness, but the moment also sparked a wave of online discussions about how female celebrities are interviewed differently than men. Ariana didn't just call it out, she exposed it. And the fact that she did it with poise and clarity made the moment even more powerful. Her stand didn't end in the studio. Grande followed up with a handwritten essay on Twitter titled, "We Can, We Will," calling for equal scrutiny in entertainment journalism. Within 24 hours, #LetAFanAsk trended worldwide, encouraging listeners to crowdsource thoughtful questions and drown out sexist commentary. Several radio stations quietly revamped their rapid-fire segments, swapping shallow girl questions for career-centric prompts, a shift industry blogs later dubbed the Ariana Effect. Even now, DJs cite that episode as the wake-up call that changed their prep sheets for good. But speaking of fierce women drawing boundaries, one rapper took it personal, especially when the media brought her daughter into the mix. Cardi B never bites her tongue, but the minute someone tried to use her baby girl for clickbait, the Bronx hurricane turned into a full-blown media storm. In 2019, Access Hollywood clipped a backstage interview so it sounded like Cardi blamed her hectic schedule for not spending enough time with culture. The edit hit the internet, and within hours Cardi was live on Instagram, eyes blazing, acrylics flashing, ready to set the record straight.
Don't use my kid for clickbait!
She warned them, in no uncertain terms, to keep her child's name out of their headlines or risk a lawsuit. The rant trended worldwide. Even outlets that rarely cover rap stopped to ask, did Access Hollywood just pick the wrong fight? They did. Ratings bumped for a week, but the brand's reputation took a hit that still lingers whenever journalists discuss media ethics around celebrity kids. Zendaya's response was quieter, but maybe even sharper. Picture Oscar night, 2015. She's floating down the red carpet in a satin off-white gown and waist-length dreadlocks when host Juliana Rancic cracks a joke about how she looks. Zendaya barely flinched in the moment, but later, she posted a schooling that went everywhere. No cursing, no screaming, just a mic drop so clean that Rancic apologized twice on television and again in writing. Years later, Zendaya credits that night for pushing her into activism and landing major fashion contracts that celebrate black hair instead of mocking it. Sometimes the smartest clapback is simply refusing to laugh along. Tom Cruise tried polite first, then turned interrogator. London, 2005. He's greeting reporters at the War of the Worlds premiere when a man dressed as a journalist produces what looks like a microphone and squirts water straight into Cruise's face. Cruise didn't flinch. He questioned the prankster like a disappointed dad.
Now, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
The prankster wilted under the glare. Cruise didn't raise his voice, but the dressing down was savage, firm, measured, almost parental. The man muttered an apology. Cruise released him and walked off, water droplets rolling down $1 million smile. The fallout reshaped red carpet etiquette. Studios began sending prank warning memos to junket crews, and independent PR firms started charging event vulnerability surcharges for A-listers. Cruise himself, no stranger to viral sound bites, would channel the same zero-tolerance energy 15 years later when he tore into Mission: Impossible 7 crew members for breaking COVID protocols. Audio of that heated on-set lecture leaked in 2020, and while some called it harsh, others applauded the consistency. Disrespect the rules, and you'll get the same steely lecture that soaked a prankster back in '05. Red carpet security worldwide quietly upgrades their protocols the next morning. But sometimes the disrespect comes from the interviewer himself. During a 2013 Channel 4 sit-down for Django Unchained, Quentin Tarantino was happily fielding questions until host Krishnan Gurumurthy tried to steer the chat into gun violence politics. Tarantino leaned forward, eyes blazing, and cut him off.
Because I refuse your question. I'm not your slave and you're not my master.
He refused to say another word on the topic, folded his arms, and stared the host into an awkward silence. The clip exploded online. Fans praised the director's zero-tolerance stance on gotcha questions, while critics called it combative. Either way, Tarantino proved you can halt an interview in its tracks without leaving your chair. All of which brings us to Hollywood's most jaw-dropping televised backlash. March 27th, 2022. The Oscars. Chris Rock cracks a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head, an offhand remark, he thinks. Will Smith strides up, open hand slaps Rock across the face, and strides back to his seat.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
The Dolby Theater freezes. Twitter detonates. Memes, think pieces, hot takes swirl like debris in a tornado. Within days, the Academy banned Smith from the ceremony for 10 years. Yet by 2025, he's back in the studio recording an album whose lyrics reference protecting queens by any means. Public opinion is still split. Some call it chivalry gone nuclear, others call it career suicide, but no one doubts the force of zero tolerance when a boundary gets obliterated on live television. So, what threads all 10 of these moments together? Respect demanded, reclaimed, and defended in real time. Rihanna turned fan frustration into a running joke she controls. Robert Downey Jr. walked away the instant a reporter poked wounds that weren't theirs to prod. Samuel L. Jackson flipped a casual blunder into a lesson on racial bias. Taylor Swift highlighted the double standard that still dogs women in every field. Ariana Grande carved sexism to ribbons with charm and facts. Cardi B reminded the press that motherhood isn't a headline. Zendaya transformed a red carpet insult into a cultural teach-in. Tom Cruise exposed cruelty with a single question. Quentin Tarantino proved interviews have limits.
And Will Smith?
He showed the world what happens when patience finally snaps in front of a billion eyes. Remember these stories next time someone claims celebrities have to swallow every slight for the sake of publicity. Microphones can drop. Cameras can cut. Interviews can end. And sometimes, reputations, both the insulters and the insulted, endure in the shadow of a single instant. Which rebound was your favorite? Which clapback felt justified? And which went too far? Scroll down, sound off, and let the debate begin. Just keep it respectful, because as you've seen, not even the brightest stars tolerate disrespect for long.